Hello, my name is Matt, and together with Sarada, Alicia, and Sophie, I will be presenting our solution to the Rue & Friends Garden Center case. So first we're going to introduce the business and the challenge it faces, then we'll move on to more detailed analysis of the garden center and the overall market it competes in. After that, we'll explain our solution and end off with the conclusion. The garden center is a project started by Cobb's Exotic Animal Rescue to help generate funding for their saving of exotic animals. The land for the garden center, as well as the funding for the venture, will be provided by Cobb's Adventure Park. Cobb's Exotic Animal Rescue hopes to generate $20,000 in revenue during the first operating season this year. The animal rescue's operations are very capital intensive, so they require alternative sources of revenue to help fund them. The garden center must meet its revenue goals so the organization can continue caring for the animals it saves.
Now for the analysis. One of Sear's strengths is that they have access to many resources. For example, they already have a location provided for them at Cobb's Adventure Park, they have access to human capital through volunteers by Enactus, and they have access to seed money that has been pledged to them from Cobb's. This brings us to one of their weaknesses. Although Cobb's has pledged them seed money, Sears may find that the garden center model is financially unsustainable. Another weakness is the location, because Sears and Cobb's is pretty far outside of Calgary, making it more difficult for volunteers or interested guests to get up there. An opportunity is that Sear is a charitable cause, which makes it easier for them to get donations as well as grants, and the business itself is an opportunity since it's so new. A key threat here is the competition. So although there is only one petting zoo in Calgary, there are many established competitors in the leisure and recreation category, such as public parks or the zoo, and there are also a lot of competitors in the gardening market, so it's really important here that Sear stands out from the crowd.
One of the major political factors which is beneficial to CEAR is the lifting of COVID restrictions in Alberta, allowing for an unlimited number of people in public gatherings, both outdoors and indoors. Something to be conscious about, though, is the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and how that might have more political implications based on the global influence of the conflict as it moves forward. As for economic factors, an important consideration is the inflation rate soaring in Alberta, hitting a yearly inflation rate of 3.1%. This means that the cost of living right now is really high for Albertans. Additionally, social factors might also have an impact on CEAR and the sales of the plants, as Alberta is not an ideal climate for growing plants, so it may not be a worthwhile investment for a lot of Albertans. Technologically, this garden center may not have anything to really set themselves apart. On the bright side, most garden centers have the same types of flowers and same types of technology when it comes to growing their plants.
There are three key demographics that we would like to reach. The first and most important demographic is anyone who's interested in gardening. Over half of North American homeowners garden at least once a year, so there's a large market for selling plants, especially ornamental plants or herbs, as you can see on the slide. The second demographic that we have identified is animal lovers, so Sear will be able to appeal to animal lovers who would also like to support a good cause. And lastly, another demographic is kids and families who would also be interested in the events and activities that Cobb's has to offer and potentially helping them become longtime patrons of Cobb's.
As previously stated, the proceeds amassed from the Rue & Friends Garden Center would go directly towards supporting Sear and the expenses associated with their mission. The decision criteria used to measure the solution's effectiveness align with the goals outlined by Sear and our team. We identified 5 critical decision criteria to help us evaluate a potential solution. The requirements include time sensitivity, ease of implementation, revenue, the amount of initial risk, and the project scalability. Time sensitivity and revenue are the 2 most important decision criteria as they directly impact Sear and the success of their business. It is crucial to have a flexible and time-sensitive solution as this is the first year that the seasonal garden is being established. Throughout the garden's grand opening, Sear may face challenges that modify aspects of their business. Having a versatile and flexible solution can help offset some of these challenges. Additionally, creating a solution that can immediately and seamlessly be implemented into the original framework of the business reduces the initial risk of the venture. Having a low-risk solution will minimize the sunken cost of both time and money. The solutions were also evaluated based on their predicted revenue generation. Sear stated a goal for a minimum of $20,000 in sales for their first year, so it was essential to ensure that the solution met their criteria. Lastly, our final decision criteria was scalability. We prioritized creating a solution that would be both sustainable and scalable in the long term. These are some examples of alternative solutions our team created. The 4 leading alternative solutions include organizing fundraisers centered around selling bedding plants and other gardening tools, establishing a community composting service, creating plant delivery services for communities in and around Calgary, and lastly, partnering with local community centers and senior homes. Creating a marketing plan for Sear in which Cobb needs to partner and sell plants directly to organizations would be vastly unachievable, especially with the project's current timeline. Hence, we did not choose this solution as it would require a significant commitment in terms of both time and funds, and would require each organization to connect with both Cobb's and Sear. Another solution we discussed was creating a plant delivery service. However, this solution would require a high volume of volunteer participation and would be challenging to implement, especially if building the service from the ground up. Additionally, after conducting market research, it was discovered that this niche was highly competitive.
Our solution addresses 3 prongs, the first and most important of which is generating revenue. We will achieve this by offering a plant subscription service. Gardeners with this annual subscription will receive bedding plants for their garden 3 times a year during the 3 main planting seasons, spring, summer, and fall. This will appeal to both new and experienced gardeners, as well as help create a sense of customer loyalty, as well as support a good cause. Our next suggestion is that the Sear Garden Center implements a Flora for Fauna campaign, where the proceeds from purchasing a specific kind of flower will go towards the care of a specific animal. As you can see in this mock-up, plant tags would show customers that their purchase is directly supporting the care of an animal or animals. This way customers can plant the seeds of change from their own garden. This will appeal to both animal lovers and conservationists.
An example of an event we suggest hosting is a school field trip. The students would be able to learn about plants through interactive demos at the garden center, where they plant their own seeds, enjoy the Cobb's Adventure Park, and the petting zoo where they can learn more about the animals supported by the garden. Based on our market research, we can charge $15 per student for the garden center demo, $10 per student for the petting zoo, and $15 per student for the Cobb's activities. Assuming 25 kids per class and 2 classes per day, this could generate an additional $1,750 per day in revenue. Obviously, this revenue would have to be split between Cobb's and the animal rescue, but it would still be a significant source. As for the specifics of sourcing the plants, we suggest ordering from online retailers. Most major companies in the industry allow you to buy online, and having them delivered reduces the amount of time spent by staff picking up products. OFC Seeds is a Canadian online seed store that sells a variety of annual bedding flowers at low prices. For example, 500 marigold seeds can be purchased for $33.10. Given the supply chain issues currently affecting the world, we suggest going with a Canadian supplier to reduce the risk of a product getting held up at ports or border crossings.
The second portion of the main solution involves marketing and developing brand awareness. This would involve continuing to promote the Instagram page and website, as well as using search engine optimization to redirect those looking for plants to the CEAR website. By redirecting more traffic to the website, it increases the word-of-mouth marketing. Additionally, traditional marketing styles such as community newsletters or posters could be effective in the appropriate environments, such as at schools or universities.
$1,750 per day in revenue. Obviously, this revenue would have to be split between Cobb's and the animal rescue, but it would still be a significant source.
From May to June. We propose marketing towards high school and university students to solve this problem, as they will not have classes in the late spring and throughout summer months. During this allotted time frame, many students prioritize finding summer positions and volunteer opportunities that align with their areas of passion. Being a volunteer at Rue and Friends Garden Center may check off both of these boxes for students who are interested in plants or helping animals, while also providing them with valuable work experience. Marketing towards students will also align with SEER's mission of public education, as high school and university students will learn about exotic animals and their care, which will allow them to educate others.
Phase 1 would be initiating the subscription plan and the Flora for Fauna campaign. This would also be the time to gauge interest of families and schools to start planning events, as well as begin advertising the volunteer positions to high school and university students. Posts about the Rue and Friends Garden Center can be promoted on Instagram, and a landing page for the Garden Center can be developed in order to increase visibility. Phase 1 can be implemented in the short term, in the first 1 to 2 months. Phase 2 would involve executing events on a smaller scale, like starting with school day trips and seeing how successful it is, to then move on to community events, which are more large scale. This could potentially involve working with schools to coordinate field trips with a curriculum. For example, a grade 4 class learning about plants and endangered animals would be the perfect target audience. We would continue to advertise volunteer positions and the Rue and Friends Garden Center throughout Phase 2. This would take place between months 3 to 5. Finally, Phase 3 involves solidifying the subscription plan and making any necessary changes, such as raising the subscription price or introducing a new subscription tier. At this point, we'd also be able to gauge the success of the Flora for Fauna campaign and consider bringing in new plants. It also may be appropriate at this time to potentially add a discount, such as if you buy a plant to save an animal, you can get a certain discount on your next plant. At this point, we will also begin implementing community events that will be open to the general public. Phase 3 would be implemented around month 6 to 12.
Within this presentation, we covered the analysis of the current business model, as well as the proposed solutions to generate more revenue, increase brand awareness, and recruit volunteers, all of which we believe can be done in time for the growing season this year to maximize profits. We hope you enjoyed listening and are ready to plant the seeds of change and consider our solutions.